Welcome back to Days of... Today we will learn about the issue shaking Salem to its core. Kristen DiMera's sudden confession, Brady Black's relentless interrogation, Marlena Evans' delicate crisis management with Rachel, and Chad DiMera's growing suspicion that the story everyone's being fed is a carefully engineered lie. Kristen DiMera is behind bars, and Brady wastes no time confronting her. He arrives at the jail with a single mission: tear through the veneer of her "I did it" confession and force the truth to the surface. Brady knows Kristen's tells. The measured eye contact, the way her voice steadies when she's lying for a purpose, and the carefully chosen phrasing meant to shut down follow-up questions. He pushes her on the details, where she stood, why the angle of EJ's wound doesn't match her story, and why she waited this long to speak up. Kristen, determined and eerily calm, keeps repeating the same lines to law enforcement. She pulled the trigger, she acted alone, and she'll face the consequences. It's airtight on paper, but emotionally hollow. Brady sees it for what it is: a mother building a wall around Rachel and daring anyone to try to knock it down. The confession lands like a grenade in Rachel Black's world. The moment Rachel learns that her mother has owned the shooting, she spirals, because it clashes with everything Kristen taught her about truth and survival. This is a teenager already grappling with fragmented memories and guilt she cannot name. Rachel remembers the chaos, the heat of the moment, the noise, then nothing. Now, with Kristen's confession, she believes the worst: that her mother has lied before and is lying again. Only this time the lie comes wrapped in sacrifice. The emotional logic is dizzying. If Kristen is willing to go to prison, then Rachel must be the reason why. That realization crushes her. Marlena steps in as the one person who can navigate this emotional minefield without causing further explosions. Her goal is not to lay out facts, but to stabilize Rachel's heart and mind. Marlena uses language that honors Rachel's pain without confirming the one thing that would shatter her: that she fired the shot. She reinforces boundaries. This is not Rachel's burden to carry. Not today. Not in this way. Marlena knows the ethics of memory work with minors, especially when trauma is involved. She avoids leading questions and resists the temptation to fix the narrative. Instead, she scaffolds safety. Slow breathing, simple truths, a practical plan for the next 24 hours. She centers Rachel's agency, what she can control right now, while foreshadowing longer-term support, including therapy designed to gently untangle shock from memory without re-traumatizing her. Kristen's motivations are layered, strategic, and maternal in the most dangerous way. She's not just protecting Rachel from legal peril. She's insulating her from the psychological implosion that comes from remembering an accident that could have killed EJ. Kristen understands how Salem consumes its tragedies, how rumors become verdicts, and how a child can get trapped in a narrative she can't outgrow. By absorbing the blame, Kristen is banking on three outcomes. The case becomes simple and quick, Rachel avoids the courtroom entirely, and EJ, pragmatic when he wants to be, keeps his mouth shut because the optics help him too. She's playing chess with her own freedom as the sacrificial piece, all to keep Rachel off the board. Brady's fury isn't just about the lie. It's about the long-term damage. He knows that later, when the adrenaline fades, the truth will claw its way back. If Rachel remembers, the knowledge that her mother went to prison for her could harden into a lifelong wound. So Brady tests Kristen, accusing her of weaponizing guilt. He demands she choose a better future for their daughter: transparency, therapy, accountability. Kristen refuses. To her, the cleanest outcome is the one where Rachel never learns the full picture. Brady leaves the jail with a promise: if Kristen won't protect Rachel's mind the right way, he will, no matter how many DiMera secrets he has to unravel. Meanwhile, Chad DiMera senses rot beneath the confession. Chad has spent years decoding DiMera misdirection, and Kristen's timing stinks of damage control rather than justice. He studies hospital reports, revisits the scene, and presses EJ with unnerving precision. Why did Kristen wait to confess? Why does the ballistic trajectory suggest a shorter shooter or an altered position? Why does EJ, a relentless prosecutorial mind when wronged, seem oddly content to accept the story at face value? EJ's responses are rehearsed, and that is exactly what alarms Chad. If the truth is simple, why is EJ performing simplicity? EJ's priority is containment. Publicly, he sells the narrative that the case is resolved. The shooter confessed, the DA can move forward, the DeMaras will restore order. Privately, he's moving chess pieces, nudging witnesses, framing selective facts, and closing emotional ranks around Rachel to keep her insulated. The protector side of EJ is real. He doesn't want a child to drown in Salem's legal machinery. But there's also calculation here. A quiet confession avoids a scandal that could damage his own standing and destabilize DeMara Enterprises. The fewer questions asked, the safer his empire remains. He's not lying so much as directing the spotlight, away from Rachel, away from the inconsistencies, and directly onto Kristen's noble guilt. Leo Stark, never one to pass up a story that smells like perfume and dynamite, voices what the audience is already thinking. The confession is too tidy. In typical Leo fashion, he pokes at the edges. Gossip, stray details, whispered conversations outside the hospital room. He's not a cop, but he has a talent for hearing what people don't say. To Leo, the case looks like a play with an obvious ending, and when drama looks that clean, someone edited the script. The forensic questions linger in the background like a drumbeat. If Kristen fired the shot, can she place herself at the angle that produced EJ's wound pattern? Does the timing of emergency calls align with her story? Are there surveillance gaps conveniently coinciding with the alleged shooting window? Salem's cases are rarely solved by the first confession, and the questions here are not so much technical as human. Who benefits from this conclusion, and who bleeds for it? Marlena's tightrope act becomes even more precarious as Rachel's emotions oscillate. Rage, denial, grief. Each emotion spikes at different moments, and Marlena tempers them without extinguishing Rachel's right to feel them. She encourages Brady and John to maintain a stable front. No explosive fights in front of Rachel, no weaponized blame. She suggests milestones rather than ultimatums. A week of structured routines, school accommodations if needed, and a gradual introduction to the idea that memories can be both unreliable and survivable. Marlena knows that rushing the truth risks turning it into trauma. Timing, in therapy as in life, is everything. Back at the jail, Kristen doubles down. She requests a formal written statement and makes sure the wording leaves no room for reinterpretation. This is a trap for anyone who might try to exonerate her later. If the statement is too clean, any attempt to reverse it looks like manipulation. Kristen wants the steel door to close because, in her mind, that sound is the only thing standing between Rachel and ruin. It's a mother's love refashioned into strategy. Devastating, flawed, and ferociously consistent. Chad's investigation broadens. He canvasses hospital staff, cross-references shift logs, and sniffs out anomalies in the timeline. He isn't out to destroy Kristen. He wants the truth, and the truth feels off. The more EJ deflects, the more Chad leans in. He spots micro-reactions. The fraction of a second delay before EJ agrees with a detail, the carefully neutral tone when Rachel's name surfaces, the slight press of tension in EJ's jaw when someone mentions ballistics. None of these are proof, but together they paint a picture Chad recognizes. A DeMara cover, designed to look like justice while hiding something far more fragile. For EJ, the endgame is straightforward: move on. He survived, the shooter confessed, the family can stabilize. But healing built on silence is brittle. If the truth cracks later, and it always does in Salem, the fallout will be nuclear. That's the risk EJ takes by betting on control over clarity. He's not wrong about the immediate benefits, but he might be catastrophically wrong about the cost. Brady, unwilling to let the lie calcify, starts assembling his own path forward. He'll secure Rachel a therapist who isn't entangled in DeMara politics. He'll consult a lawyer to understand how to protect Rachel legally without detonating the family. He'll push for supervised conversations with Kristen, ensuring that love doesn't become leverage. Brady's not always the perfect decision-maker, but on this he is immovable. Rachel's life won't be defined by a secret she doesn't understand. Leo, sensing story gold, may end up the unlikely catalyst. His instincts could put him in the right place at the right time. Overhearing a defensive remark, uncovering a timestamp discrepancy, or catching wind of a sealed report. He's chaotic, but chaos has a way of peeling back veneer when everyone else is pretending the painting is finished. In the end, this storyline isn't about a single bullet. It's about the machinery of protection. Kristen protects by absorbing blame. EJ protects by controlling narrative. Marlena protects by safeguarding a young mind. Brady protects by demanding the truth, even when it hurts. Chad protects by refusing to let convenience pass for reality. And Rachel, at the center, is a child learning the cruel paradox of Salem, that love can be both shield and shackle. As Monday's episode unfolds, expect tension in every room. Expect Brady pushing for daylight where darkness is easier. Expect Marlena turning therapy into triage and grace. Expect Kristen's resolve hardening into the kind of confession that doesn't crack under pressure, until someone finds the one seam that does. Expect EJ to hold the line, even as Chad quietly maps out every weak point in it. And expect Leo to hover on the edges, ready to say out loud what everyone else is tiptoeing around. Because in Salem, the truth doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it arrives, it rarely knocks. It breaks the lock.